Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of F1 2017 Career Mode. We are back, and I'm just showing you here the upgrades I'm doing. Season 1 is all about reliability, so that's what I'm upgrading.
Lane will be open shortly, which means it's nearly time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza. With the weather as it is today, Anthony Davidson, we have, to some extent, to throw the form book out of the window. Who do you see having the advantage on this slippery, unpredictable track surface?
Traditionally, these are very Adrian Newey conditions. The Red Bull's habit of creating incredible downforce coupled with the high rake they like to run is perfect for the wet, and it's helped them close the power gap a number of times over recent years. I think Force India as well, always a bit of a dark horse in changeable conditions, and of course the McLarens have a fairly good chassis. Having said that, I don't want to make a firm prediction. More than performance, the deciding factor is going to be the timing. The level of wetness out on the track is going to constantly rise and fall, and anyone who can find that perfect window when it's at its driest will have a big advantage out there.
Yep, so there you go, we have a wet qualifying, we're here in Monza. Let's jump straight into it and see what we can do in Q1. When it's wet, my strategy was always to just go out, hope for the best, stay out for the full length of the session, and yeah, just run until the track becomes good, basically, was my strategy. So you're going to see a lot of transitions, different parts of the lap. The way you can keep track of which lap I'm on is in the top right hand corner. You'll see it says L1 currently, that's because I'm still doing my first timed lap. If you can see it says L2 there, that means we're on lap 2. And then I'm going to be throwing in these replay cameras of me driving around. Really, it was a wet track, so there's not much I can say about how the car was performing. It seemed to be okay. Lap time seemed decent. A wet track seems to be quite suits me quite well. And you can see that we're just going faster and faster each lap. As the track grips in, the tyres grip in, and we get used to these wet conditions. And that's basically it. And I do believe it was full wet tyre running throughout the entire session. So there was no sort of transition point. But if you are out in the wet, that is what you're looking for. And you're looking for that point where the wet tyre really starts to drop off. So if you start doing like lap times a couple of seconds below your best, and it's not because you made a mistake, then it's about time to change tyre.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
We were weirdly out at a similar time with our teammates, so there's going to be points where we sort of cross paths. But he didn't seem to get in our way too much. So yeah, unless there was something blocking you or some sort of mistake you made, as long as you're still going faster on the wet tyre, stay on the wet tyre. It's that easy, really. But it's just a case if you don't want to be stuck in the pit lane and all of a sudden the track grips up and you lose like 2 seconds to everybody else. This is still mid-season update that they did with Codemasters. And so yeah, this was recorded literally, I think release week this was recorded. That's how far behind I am currently uploading, but I am trying to get them all out as soon as possible, get season 1 finished off at least, hopefully before Christmas. I've just started season 4 in the game, so if I can catch up to that before too long, before I lose that sort of mindset of driving in this game, then that'd be quite nice to do. So we're now in Q2. You can see again the lap counter has been reset to L1.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
So basically try not to worry about using wet tyres. We're not going to need them in the race tomorrow. Just go out and use them, basically. You get, I think, 3 sets of wet tyres, so that's perfect for qualifying. You can have 1 in each. They don't wear that heavily. You don't lose that much speed from them. We are nursing a bit of a gearbox issue though. You have to change those every 6 races, I think. And what starts to happen is they stop letting you shift gears. Like they stop letting you shift up and down to certain gears, so you lose like maybe 3rd. If you're lucky, you might lose like 8th, which is quite nice, because you don't tend to need 8th. You can get by without 8th gear. And if you lose something like 2nd, 3rd or 4th, they're your main like acceleration gears and deceleration gears, that's when it starts to suck, and it might be worth taking a gearbox penalty for something like that. Although I tend to just replace all parts if I'm, you know, low down in the order, like if I'm 12th or below, then that's when I'll replace engine parts and gearbox parts and things. So you can see we're now still in Q2. The time is running out. We've been out for the entire session, literally just filled the car up with fuel and went out. Bizarrely similar to the Monza qualifying sessions in the actual real Formula 1. I don't know how you, well, the real Formula 1 qualifying around Monza. And yeah, I don't know if that's on purpose, Codemasters. If it is, well done, top job. Yeah. So we're going out now into the last session in qualifying. If I can get my words out, that would help. So we're going out in Q3, and I basically, with Q3, I left it to the very end because I wanted fresh wet tyres and a light car of fuel. So I left it to the last few minutes. Went out and then yeah, hope for the best. Hope I didn't make a mistake. I left myself. I think I got 3 laps in. But we'll find out. So I'm just showing you a full lap of Monza basically, and yeah, if you don't know the Monza track, it's I think it's one of the oldest tracks on the F1 calendar, and it's changed not that often, maybe a few curves here and there, but apart from that it's basically the same as it was when I first started watching, sort of late 90s, when I can remember watching Formula 1. But yeah, it used to be a banked circuit, like a sort of NASCAR style circuit with from turn 1 you would go down towards the banked part of the track. Sadly we don't do that anymore. I don't know why. It'd be quite nice if we did. So I'm including these replay cameras as well that you've seen throughout this race.
That lap puts you at P5.
And I did the same in Spa, and I just think it's nice to have just that third person perspective as well as the onboard, because I appreciate that you guys can't see much when I'm in this cockpit cam, but I don't know, it feels more real to me having it in cockpit cam. So yeah, I'd like to include these extra replay cameras. They take up like so much more processing power though when it comes to editing the videos, so I don't know, I'll see. It'll be a balance between what looks good and what really doesn't look good.
Thank you guys.
Very happy with that position. Well done.
My time.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Raikkonen, Renault and Verstappen, Ricciardo, Ocon, Perez and Lance Stroll, Grosjean, Hülkenberg, Carlos Sainz and Kvyat, Magnussen, Alonso, Pascal Wehrlein and Marcus Ericsson. Massa and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
You can run side by side into the Rettifilio, but don't brake too late on these cold tyres or you will hit someone.
So there you go guys, P5 for the Italian Grand Prix. We're on the grid, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off. That was a long time being held, and you may have noticed that qualifying has taken up most of this video, and you're about to find out why. This wasn't a good race for us. So we're diving up the inside, going into turn 1 under the brakes, get Bottas and Raikkonen, hop across the curb a little bit there, and there's a bit of contact with Bottas, bit of wheel contact, thanks Jeff, and here's where it all goes wrong. You see, we try up the inside into turn 3.
You've knocked the front wing. What happened? Let me know you're okay.
Yeah, so you can see it again from the replay camera here. Everything got off well. We bit of contact with Bottas, lost a bit of our front wing, and then the back end just stepped out on us. Let's have a look from Raikkonen's perspective, and once more from my perspective. So we come out of the Rettifilio, up the inside of Bottas. He doesn't really see we're there. Bit of contact with the wheel and a second just for good measure, and it's straight into the barrier. And I did promise that I would do no flashbacks in this Grand Prix, so unfortunately that is the end of the Italian Grand Prix for us, and I will see you next time in Singapore. I'm sorry guys, I tried, I really tried.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced.